effectively in the organization of local government units sa municipal o sa provincial. So the Administrative Code of 1916, so unsa na siya nga code, Act number 2657, incorporated the Municipal Code and Provincial Act revised under 2711 a year later. So mao ni siya ang Administrative Code sa 1916, mao ni ang gigamit. No, Administrative Code of 1916, Act number 2657. Act number 3995 created the Office of the Provincial Assessor. So mao na siya, no, si assessor nga office gi-create siya by virtue of Act number 3995. So the National Assembly of 1939 enacted Commonwealth Act number 470 or the Assessment Law. So in 1939 na atay assessment law, gitawag siya Commonwealth Act number 470 in 1939. During martial law, so 1970s na, sweeping reforms on real property taxation were introduced through Presidential Decree numbers 25 and 76. In 1974, ni ang importante, duol-duol na siya, no? The Real Property Tax Code, or we call that as PD 464. Mao ni ang guide, no? Before ang ato ang RA 7160 na aning PD 464 or the Real Property Tax Code of the Philippines. In 1978, the Office of the Municipal Assessor was created. Sa una wala pa, no? Municipal Assessor wala pa na siya. Pero in 1978, mauni siya ang pag-create sa first, no, ng mga municipal assessment offices. PD 464 as amended was recognized under the Local Government Code of 1983. Dili tong 7160, no, kay 1991 man to. So we call that as Batas Pambansa Bilang number 337. In 1987 Constitution paved the way for local government code. So during Constitution 1987 maon man ni atong latest karon nga Constitution paved the way for the Local Government Code of 1991 or RA 7160, which incorporated real property taxation under Title II, Local Taxation and Fiscal Matters Book 2. So Book 2, Title 2, inyo siyang abangan kay akong pa-project sa inyo, no? Dapat na-agyod mo aning Local Government Code of 1991 or RA 7160. In 2001, the LAMP Administration and Management Program, Phase 1. So unsa maning LAMP? This is a project of the Philippines which is supported by Australia. So maotong 15 to 20-year commitment of the Philippine government was launched. So this was aimed at poverty alleviation and economic growth through secure land tenure and equitable real property valuation and taxation. So 15 to 20-year commitment ang LAMP 1. That was in 2001. 5 years later, in 2006, nag-ano na po og LAMP 2. So dili LAMP nga sugaa, Land Administration and Management Program. So gituluan ta, no, sa by support of Australia nga dapat inana ang ato ang real property taxation. Was launched for the implementation of recommendations and learnings and the gaps, no, and the hindering factors unsa ang mga problema during sa LAMP 1. In 2008, LAMP 2, pursuant to its Valuation Education Program, signed a Memorandum of Understanding or the MOU with the University of the Philippines Open University, OPOU, on the development and delivery of training and education programs for real property valuation. So nagkaduol na, no? Valuation Education Program ang diri sa LAMP 2. But in 2009, the UPOU Courseware Development Team paid an immersion visit to Central Queensland University, Australia for exposure to international best practices in 2009. At the same year, but on June, Real Estate Service Act or RA 9646 was passed into law. So mao na to akong discuss no what is RA 9646. Diri ni siya tungod aning mga milestone no tungod sa mga historical milestone kung unsa ang needed pa sa gobyerno no nga mapakusgan ang real property taxation. So Real Service Act of 2009. Okay. So for in October same year 2009, Executive Order number 833 created Property Valuation Office or the PVO for purposes of sustaining and instituting real property valuation reforms. So gi-create ang PVO nga office pero wala pa lang siya gyud na implement karon. So in 2009 also of October, the Department of Finance, Department Order number 37, -09 prescribed the Philippine Valuation Standards. So mao na siya nga naatay PVS, no? Kung gusto mo magbasa sa atong PVS na ako gibilin nga PVS diha sa library colored green, no? Pangutan alang inyong librarian, ma'am, mahulam ko og PVS colored green. On June 23 to 24 of 2010, the National Congress on Property Valuation and Taxation was held in the Hyatt Hotel. Na on July 21, 2010, IRR sa atong RESA law gi-approvean, no? To date, Senate Bill 3519, the Real Property Valuation Reform Act, is still pending on Congress, no, for review. Okay, so we will define the following terms. Appraisal, also known as valuation. Value means worth or usefulness or utility of an object to someone for some purpose. So there are types of valuation: informal and formal valuation. So when we say informal, intuition over data. When we say formal, data over intuition expressed in terms of valuation report. So kung formal report, usually ang ginagamit nato karon is the formal written report. So we will define what is land. Land includes the surface, the soil, the rocks beneath, and space above. No, maunto siya ang definition sa land. Real estate and real property. So I hope nga inyohang yung ma-distinguish what is the difference between real estate and real property. So when we say real estate, it refers to the object itself and the land and what is attached to it. So unsa tong pinaka fixed gyud, no, dili na gyud na nimo siya ma-move from one place to another, we call that as real estate. But when we say real property, it refers solely to the ownership rights to the object, to the land. So what are the real example of real property? Is your title, is your tax receipt, and then your tax declaration, and then for example your deed of sale, kung wala pa man gani siya na transfer, naagyud kay deed of sale, syempre imong gipalit. So components of real property: the land, objects permanently affixed to the land, and the immovable, dili siya pwede balhinon, kay permanently fixed, affixed to the land. So the real estate and real property, we have here the bundles of rights. So to summarize, there are 5 bundle of rights, no? What are these bundle of rights? Right to occupy the property, right to sell, right to exclude others from it, right to borrow against it, and right to convey ownership to inheritance. So this bundle of rights may be broken up to cover various time periods. So mao ni siya. Kung imo na ang property, naana ni ang imuhang bundles of rights, no? Naka-package na siya dito sa imuhang property. So there are real estate appraisal categories used in the restriction. So even if the title is ours na, we are still restricted by the government. So dili ka mo ingon nga ako ang good na siya. Ano man nga butaan ko ninyo. So there is the power of the government no nga i-restrict ka from other government from other laws, no, mga balaod sa gobyerno nga gi ano siya napil ang survey. Okay, so the categories of restriction is by the government, number one, and then by private restriction, and then also by market restrictions. So for government restrictions, there are 4 powers of the government. Number 1 is the police power. Number 2 is the power of eminent domain. Number 4 is the power of taxation. And number 5 is escheat. Okay, so na-explain na ni nako no sa ato ang REM 3 taon na. So for private restrictions, conditions imposed by seller and restrict future owners or users. So private easements katong mga dalan no nga dili pwede nimo kuralon pero pwede nimo siya gamiton no in the meantime nga wala pa siya gigamit sa gobyerno. So contracts, we have also the lease contract or the mortgage contract. Okay. So in an economic sense, neither the government nor the property owner really determines the ultimate use of the land. Instead, the eventual use of land depends on the restrictions imposed by the market, imposed by law, no, imposed by private individual, or imposed by the state or the government, which operates within the limits set by government and by private restrictions. So na nag-restrict sa ato ang government and private. No? Even if that land is already titled by you. So we have here the valuation process. Number 1 is define clearly the valuation problem. No, then formulate an efficient valuation plan, collect and analyze pertinent data, then apply the appropriate value approaches, then arrive at a conclusion of value and report the conclusion of value. So there are 6 processes before mo report ka sa conclusion of value. So sa define sa problem, unsa ang problem sa imuhang client. Then formulate an efficient valuation plan. And then collect and analyze pertinent data. So dili lalim mag-collect pa ka-analyze. Then apply the appropriate value approaches. There are 3 of them, the approaches to value, then arrive at the conclusion of value, and then report the conclusion of value. Okay, so break muna for 5 minutes. I'll be back at 8:25. No, tama 9 ang ato ang klase. So we are here now for valuation, real estate appraisal theories, principles, and practices. Ang wala pa ka-exam ha, pag human sa klase mag-exam na mo. mo gitulong sa agad na alas ko. Tulog na ako ko klase. Napa mo?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Moving on to valuation reports, there are kinds of reports, the letter report, the form report, the narrative report, and the longest and the most formal of the evaluation reports is the narrative report. So mao ni siya ang inyong himuon. No, kung kamo na puhon ang appraiser, you are you are to prepare the narrative report. So the letter report is 1 to 5 pages, setting forth the terms of reference, the summary of the nature and scope of valuation, and the opinion of value. So this opinion of value is the final valuation. So opinion lang siya ang tawag, but then you have to compute for that using the approaches to value. So dili pa mo kabalo ron kay wala pa man mo kabalo no? What are the approaches? So the form report uses printed sheet to standardize and organize report content commonly used by government and institutions in handling the large quantities of appraisal. So they are using the form report. And the last one is the narrative report. It is the longest and most formal of the valuation report, a step-by-step summary of facts used to arrive at the valuation. No? So mao na siya ang valuation reports. So there are 4 essential elements of value. So nga naman Mudako ang valuation sa atong yuta because of the presence of these four elements. Number one is utility. Utility meaning usefulness, no? Unsaon paggamit, no? Ability to arouse a desire for position. So ganahan ko aning yuta, no? Kay naa diri ang karsada, doon sa karsada. Then naa siya kanang tubig na ay suga. So mao man na importante, which is to arouse a desire for a position. So kung kana ang imong yuta na ay mga available nga mga utilities, then it will arouse the buyer, no? The desire of the buyer. Number two is scarcity. So scarce in a relative short supply, no? Scarce, gamay siya. So not in abundance, meaning mahal, makabaligya ka og mahal. So the law of supply and demand, di ba kung daghan ang supply, mas barato ang yuta, no? So demand, desire to possess plus the ability to buy, effective purchasing power. So ang yuta niya nga ibaligya kuan kanang demand jud siya, no? Kay gwapo ang posisyon, ang physical niya nga attributes, no? Gwapo ang iyahang measurement, no? Dili siya irregular, square siya or rectangle, so meaning naa siya physical characteristic na attractive to the buyer. So that is demand. Transferability, capable of change in ownership or use. Marketable title, kay kung ang title naa siya we call that encumbrance or liens, cannot be transferred. So dili ta mo palit ana ang mga title nga naa siya encumbrance or liens, no? Kay kung naa siya encumbrances or liens, dili siya pwede ma-transfer sa imuha, ikaw nga buyer. So with the presence of these four elements of value, the utility, scarcity, demand, and transferability, pwede nimo ibaligya ang imong yuta, no? For example, ang imong yuta na aning upat, no? Sometimes we call this as dust. Aron dili ninyo dugay madumduman, no? Demand, utility, scarcity, and transferability, just. So with the four essential elements of value, so you can offer your lot, no, for sale to the public for kuan siya kanang accurate maximum na amount, no, ang imong pwede ma-offer because of the presence of these four essential elements. So any question? Utility, scarcity, demand, and transferability, or sometimes called as dust. Demand, utility, scarcity, and transferability. So utility na ang mga available nga water, light, or ang iyang location, no? Scarcity meaning short ang supply, dili abundant, so meaning mahal ang pwede nimo mabaligya. So demand, the ability to buy or effective purchasing power, and transferability, capable of change in ownership or use because your title is clear, no? So a clear title meaning wala siya mga loan, wala siya encumbrances, no, whatsoever. So we call that as a clear title. Okay. So principles of real estate marketability. So there are several principles, no, in market, in the valuation, no, appraisal, valuation, theories, principles, and practices. So ako na lang ni siyang i-assignment ang kani, no, principles and practices. Later on, there are 17. So make a research, no, sa kaning appraisal, theories, principles, and practices. There are 17 theories in all. So we will discuss that next meeting. The principle of real estate marketability, or the principles in the real estate valuation or marketability. Okay? So, in the question, ako ni siyang assignment, i-post na ko as your assignment for prelim. Principles, real estate principles and marketability. Principles of real estate marketability. Okay, in the question, wala, magsayo-sayo taog kuan. Dismiss. So, hint, naa siya 17. So, inyo siyang inyo siyang i-research. So, basig kulang diha sa ato ang sa atong handout, make a research. So, this is 50 points. So, i-deadline ako sa next, hindi sa 23. Ano ma-appeal pa sa atong prelim. Okay, any question so far? Sa atong discussion? Wala. Sumupost pa ko og quiz. Naana tay project, naana exams. Si ano na lang ang wala nakatake og exam. So Maricel, imong i-take mamaya after the class. Si Mark, wala pa, o si Kayla. So mga kanong sa aman mo ani Kayla and Mark. No, kay aron maano po ang
Hindi pa papabayad, ma'am.
Huwag nanay ko ito, ma'am.
Sige. So 22 akong sa dire. Nga deadline kay dapat mo submit na tana ko og prelim grade. So imo alang sa ang inyong project, no? And assignment will be posted later. Assignment mao na ni and quizzes mo lang ko, mo post ko og quizzes, inyo lang abang-abangan, ha? Ang project okay na tang exams naa pa si Kayla ug si Mark, then si Maricel. Okay, so wala na tay concern? Wala clarification regarding sa ato ang discussion this evening?
Excuse me, ma'am. Kani ibi tayo mag-discuss, ma'am. Posted na ba ni ma'am? Or
Si Kadugay na naara day kani ang akong discuss na sa
Okay,
inyo. Naa. Kaning murang medyo brown ang iyang kuan. September 15 pa na nako na kuan. Okay, so wala na. Class is dismissed. Bye-bye.